The Galactic Confederation discovered Earth in 2047. Their massive ships appeared over major cities around the world, blocking the sunlight and casting great shadows. At first, humans felt excited about meeting aliens. This was the moment many had dreamed about for centuries. But the excitement didn't last long. The aliens, especially a species called the Vexari, looked down on humans. They treated Earth's people like backward children who had stumbled onto the galactic stage by accident. Admiral Kim sat at the large conference table, facing the Vexari ambassador. The alien had 4 arms and skin that looked like polished bronze. Admiral Kim represented Earth's United Space Command at this important diplomatic meeting. It was supposed to be about cooperation and friendship between worlds. "Your propulsion systems are quaint at best," Ambassador Toll said with a sneer. His voice translator couldn't hide his mocking tone. Like watching children play with toy boats. Admiral Kim gripped the edge of the table tightly. His knuckles turned white, but his face remained calm. 6 months of these meetings had taught him to control his anger. "Our defenses are adequate for our needs," Kim replied in an even voice. "Adequate?" The skin flaps around Tull's breathing holes rippled, showing his amusement. "Your most advanced weapons wouldn't penetrate our scout ship's secondary shields." Other aliens in the room made sounds that might have been laughter. Kim noticed how the Vexari delegates shared looks. They weren't even trying to hide their contempt anymore. After the meeting, Kim's shuttle took him back to Seoul. The craft passed beneath one of the giant Vexari observation ships that now hovered over Earth's major cities. The aliens claimed these ships were there for cultural exchange, but they felt more like watchtowers to most humans. Deep beneath Seoul's streets, Kim entered a heavily guarded bunker. Inside, Earth's top military leaders waited around a circular table. The room was secure against all known forms of surveillance, including the advanced technology the Vexari possessed. "How did it go?" asked General Park, a stern woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. "The same," Kim answered, sitting down heavily. "They mock us openly now. They don't even pretend to respect us anymore." "Let them," said Park with a slight smile. "Their arrogance will be their downfall." She slid a data tablet across the table. Kim picked it up and swiped his thumb across the screen. The 3D hologram appeared, showing a spacecraft unlike anything publicly in Earth's fleet. It was sleek and angular, with a dark surface that seemed to shift and change as he looked at it. "Is this?" Kim began. "Project Phantom," Park confirmed. "The ESS Shadowdancer. Our answer to Vexari superiority." The other military leaders leaned forward to look at the ship. For 6 years, even before the aliens arrived, Earth's combined military forces had been working on this secret project. The vessel used technology that bent light, gravity, and other forms of energy around it. It was, for all practical purposes, invisible. "How does it work?" asked Admiral Kim, rotating the hologram to see all angles of the ship. "That's the beauty of it," answered General Park. "It doesn't use any technology the Vexari would recognize. Our scientists took a completely different approach to stealth. While they use energy shields and absorption fields, we've developed quantum displacement. And weapons, more than capable of penetrating those shields they're so proud of." Kim nodded slowly. "The Vexari have been taking samples of our technology since they arrived, studying it, cataloging our capabilities. But they don't know about this." "No," Park said firmly. "Project Phantom has been our most closely guarded secret. Even most of Earth's governments don't know it exists." "How soon will it be ready?" asked Kim. 3 weeks, Park replied with satisfaction. "And the Vexari won't see it coming." As they discussed the final preparations, Kim felt a spark of hope for the first time since the aliens arrived. The Vexari thought they knew everything about human technology. They believed humans were harmless, primitive, and easily controlled. They were wrong. The Shadowdancer would soon show them just how wrong they were. 6 months had passed since first contact with the aliens. What started as excitement had become a growing worry for Earth. The Vexari, the most powerful species in the Galactic Confederation, were now making themselves at home in the solar system. They built military outposts on asteroids, moons, and even Mars itself. Large mining ships tore into the surface of Mars, taking valuable minerals without permission. The same happened on Europa, Ganymede, and other moons of Jupiter. The Vexari took what they wanted and ignored human complaints. In the United Nations building in New York, Earth's leaders met once again to discuss the worsening situation. The room was tense. Windows displayed the looming shape of a Vexari ship hanging in the sky outside. Another formal complaint has been dismissed, said UN Secretary Lee, placing his tablet on the table with a sigh. The Confederation Council claims the Vexari are operating within established interstellar law. What about the mining operations on Mars? Asked the French representative. Those were our research stations they destroyed. The Council says Mars is not officially recognized as human territory under Confederation standards, Lee replied. His voice was tired. They consider it unclaimed. Unclaimed. The Russian delegate's fist hit the table. We've had people living there for 15 years. Admiral Kim, who sat quietly at the end of the table, finally spoke. The Vexari are testing us, pushing to see how far we'll let them go. And what would you suggest, Admiral? Asked Lee. We can't fight them. Their technology is far beyond ours. Kim's face revealed nothing. We continue with diplomatic efforts. For now. What the UN representatives didn't know was what was happening 384,000 kilometers away, beneath the surface of Earth's moon. Deep inside a secret base built into the lunar rock, Captain Yoon Jae-yun floated in the zero-gravity chamber of the ESS Shadow Dancer. The experimental ship hung in the center of the massive underground dock. Its dark hull seemed to shift and change, even as she looked directly at it. The effect was by design. The ship's surface was made to confuse the eye and any scanning technology. Captain Yoon, a veteran pilot with 15 years of experience, had been chosen to command this critical mission. She moved through the ship's systems checks with practiced ease, her fingers dancing across the control surfaces. Power distribution is balanced, she noted, watching the display. Quantum field is stable. Nearby, Commander Kang floated with a tablet, checking off items from a list. He was younger than Yoon, but had proven himself during the ship's test flights in Earth orbit. Life support at 100%, he reported. Propulsion ready. Weapons hot. The ship's quantum displacement drive hummed softly. Unlike traditional engines, it didn't propel the ship forward with force. Instead, it bent space itself, moving the ship by shifting the fabric of reality around it. As a side effect, it bent light and energy too, making the vessel effectively invisible. A small hatch opened at the back of the control room. Director Choi, head of Earth's Intelligence Division, pushed himself inside. In his hand, he held a small crystal that glowed with stored data. Captain, he said with a nod. Your mission parameters. Yoon took the crystal and inserted it into the ship's computer. Immediately, detailed information appeared on her screens. The Vexari are planning something, Choi explained, his face serious. Their communications have increased by 300% in the last week. Ships are moving. Resources are being gathered. An attack? Asked Yoon. We don't know, Choi replied. That's what you need to find out. The Shadow Dancer will take you into Vexari territory, to their command base in the Kuiper Belt. You'll gather intelligence in return without being detected. Yoon nodded, understanding the importance of the mission. They think we're primitive. Their mistake. If you're discovered, Choi added, you're on your own. We can't protect you out there. Understood. 3 hours later, the massive lunar bay doors slid open silently. On the surface, it looked like nothing more than a crater. The Shadow Dancer rose from its hiding place, its systems already masking its presence. In orbit around Earth, Vexari monitoring stations tracked the usual traffic between Earth and lunar colonies. Their operators watched cargo ships and personnel shuttles following the same paths they always did. None of them detected the silent ghost of a ship that passed between their stations, heading out past Mars, past Jupiter, and into the deep darkness beyond, where the Vexari thought themselves unseen and unaccountable. The hunt had begun. For 3 days, the Shadow Dancer had followed the Vexari ships through space. They jumped from one star system to another, always staying hidden. The human ship's special technology kept it invisible, like a ghost trailing behind the aliens who had no idea they were being watched. Captain Yoon sat in her command chair, her eyes fixed on the main screen. It showed a huge Vexari space station. The station circled a giant purple planet with rings, much like Saturn, but 3 times larger. This was the Vexari regional headquarters, where their military leaders made their plans. Position? Asked Yoon quietly. Holding at 5,000 kilometers from the main station, answered the pilot, Officer Lim. We're matching their orbit exactly. Officer Han, who managed the ship's stealth systems, spoke next. Maintaining displacement field at maximum power, we're completely invisible to their sensors. Yoon nodded. The Shadow Dancer hung in space near the massive alien station. While Vexari ships came and went, none detected the human vessel watching them. Time to see what they're really up to, Yoon said. She turned to Commander Kang, who stood ready with his team. Begin the infiltration. Kang and his team weren't leaving the ship physically. Instead, they used the Shadow Dancer's advanced systems to reach out electronically, tapping into the Vexari communication networks. The ship extended nearly invisible tendrils of energy that connected to the station's external transmitters. The bridge was quiet as Kang worked. Only the soft beeping of instruments broke the silence. Minutes passed, then an hour. We're in, Kang finally announced, accessing their secure networks now. Yoon watched as alien data began flowing across their screens. The ship's translation software worked to convert the Vexari language into English. Then Commander Kang's voice came through the comm system, tight with urgency. Captain, you need to see this right away. A video feed appeared on Yoon's screen. It showed a meeting room filled with high-ranking Vexari officials. The translation software converted their speech into text at the bottom of the screen. The humans have no idea, a Vexari admiral was saying. Our scientific team has prepared all the necessary evidence to prove they are pre-sapient. What does that mean? Asked Officer Lim. Director Min from Intelligence, who had joined the mission at the last minute, answered grimly. In Confederation law, pre-sapient means not fully intelligent. Like animals, if Earth is classified as a pre-sapient reserve, then humans have no rights, finished Yoon, her face pale with anger. And Earth becomes property of whoever claims it. They continued watching as the Vexari leaders laid out their plan. Earth would be declared a protected evolutionary reserve at the next Confederation Assembly. Once approved, the Vexari would have legal right to take control of the planet and all its resources. They're planning a decapitation strike against our major military installations, Kang reported as more information came through. 3 weeks from now, right after the Assembly approves their motion, they'll hit every major defense center simultaneously. We need to get this information back to Earth, said Yoon. Download everything you can. For the next hour, the Shadow Dancer silently collected evidence of the Vexari betrayal. They copied military plans, faked scientific reports, and recordings of the Vexari leaders discussing how they would divide Earth's resources. Then, without warning, an alarm sounded through the ship. Officer Han's fingers flew across his console. Captain, they've deployed some kind of new sensor array. It's detecting quantum disturbances. Is our stealth compromised? Yoon asked sharply. Yes, they've detected our engine signature. They know something's here. On the main screen, Yoon could see Vexari ships changing course, heading toward their position. Red lights flashed as the aliens began scanning the area more intensely. We have what we need, Commander Kang reported. Download complete. Yoon didn't hesitate. "Emergency jump," she ordered. "Get us out of here now." Officer Lim's hands moved quickly over the controls, calculating emergency jump coordinates. Ready in 3, 2, 1. The Shadowdancer's quantum displacement drive engaged at full power. Space seemed to fold around the ship. Just as the first Vexari weapons fired, the human vessel vanished. The aliens converged on the empty space, firing weapons into nothing. Their sensors had detected something, but now there was only the void. Inside the ship, as the emergency jump carried them away, Captain Yoon looked at the data they had collected. The Vexari had shown their true colors. They didn't see humans as equals or even as people. To them, Earth was just another resource to exploit. "Set course for Earth," she ordered. "Maximum speed. We have less than 3 weeks to stop them." The Shadowdancer raced through space, carrying the evidence that would change everything. Admiral Kim stared at the screen showing Captain Yoon's face. His office beneath Seoul was silent except for the soft hum of air filters. Outside, the giant Vexari ships still hung in Earth's sky like dark promises. "It's suicide," Admiral Kim stated bluntly. He shook his head as he reviewed Captain Yoon's plan on the tablet before him. "You want to fly directly into the heart of Confederation space, into their assembly chamber." "With respect, sir, it's our only option," Captain Yoon replied. Her image on the screen showed her determination despite the exhaustion in her eyes. The Shadowdancer had raced back to Earth at dangerous speeds. The Vexari delegation presents their motion to the Confederation Grand Assembly tomorrow. If it passes, they can legally attack Earth. Director Choi stood beside Admiral Kim. "The evidence Captain Yoon's team collected is clear. The Vexari have falsified scientific data about human intelligence. They're manipulating Confederation law to seize Earth. And your solution is to fly our only stealth ship into the most heavily guarded facility in known space." Kim asked. "The Assembly has over 200 species represented," said Director Choi. "Many are uncomfortable with Vexari dominance. If we can prove their duplicity." Kim rubbed his temples. The plan was crazy. The Confederation capital station orbited a distant star, protected by defense systems beyond Earth's understanding. The assembly chamber itself was supposedly impossible to breach. Yet the Shadowdancer's stealth technology might make the impossible possible. "If you fail," Kim said quietly, "Earth loses its only advanced ship. And the Vexari will have even more reason to attack us. If we do nothing," Yoon countered, "we lose everything anyway." Admiral Kim looked at the evidence again. The recordings of Vexari leaders planning Earth's subjugation, the falsified reports claiming humans were little more than clever animals. He thought about his grandchildren, who would grow up as slaves if the Vexari plan succeeded. Kim nodded slowly. "Do it." 12 hours later, the Shadowdancer slipped away from its lunar hiding place. Its course took it past Mars, then Jupiter, then beyond the solar system. The quantum displacement drive bent space around the ship, carrying it faster than any human vessel had traveled before. Captain Yoon hardly left her command chair during the journey. Officer Han constantly adjusted the stealth systems, keeping them at peak efficiency. Commander Kang prepared the evidence they would present. "We'll have seconds," Yoon reminded her crew. "Once we reveal ourselves, every security system in the assembly will target us." "The ship can handle it," Han assured her. "As long as they don't have those quantum resonance detectors." "Even if they do," Yoon said, "we only need enough time to present our evidence." After 3 days of travel, they reached the Confederation capital system. Here, the defenses were even more intimidating than they had expected. Massive warships patrolled regular routes. Scanning beams swept across space, searching for unauthorized vessels. "Adjusting displacement field," Han reported as they carefully moved between 2 patrol ships. "They're using advanced detection systems here." Slowly, painfully, the Shadowdancer made its way through the layers of defense. It passed checkpoints where alien ships were stopped and searched. It slipped past scanning arrays that could detect the smallest space debris. Finally, they reached the capital station itself, a structure larger than Earth's moon, shaped like a great wheel spinning slowly in space. Finding the assembly chamber wasn't difficult. It was the heart of the station, a vast domed room where representatives from across the galaxy gathered. The shadow dancer positioned itself above the transparent dome. Through it, they could see hundreds of alien delegates in tiered seating. At the center stood Ambassador Tool of the Vexari, speaking to the gathered representatives. Activating external audio, Commander Kang said. The ship's systems picked up the ambassador's speech. Our scientific studies clearly demonstrate the species fails to meet Category 3 sentience requirements. Tull was saying smoothly. Their technological development is largely imitative. Their social structures remain primitive. We propose Earth be designated a protected evolutionary reserve under Vexari stewardship. On screens around the chamber, doctored videos showed humans acting irrationally, fighting each other, failing simple logic tests that had been manipulated to ensure failure. They're about to vote. Director Min warned. Look at the voting displays. Indeed, many delegates were already indicating their support for the Vexari motion. The vote would be complete in moments. Captain Yoon took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would determine humanity's future. Take us in, she ordered, directly into the chamber. The shadow dancer descended, passing through the transparent dome using its displacement field to phase partially through matter. Position stable, Officer Lim reported. We're inside the chamber. Yoon looked at her crew. Each face showed the same determination she felt. Disengage quantum displacement. Han pressed the controls. Stealth systems disengaging in 3, 2, 1. In the center of the Confederation assembly chamber, seeming to materialize from nothing, the shadow dancer appeared. The human ship hovered 20 meters above the floor, its dark hull reflecting the chamber's lights. Chaos erupted. Aliens jumped from their seats, shouting in hundreds of languages. Security systems activated, targeting lasers painting the ship's hull with red dots. But the shadow dancer merely hovered, weapons systems passive. The time for hiding was over. In the grand chamber of the Confederation Assembly, chaos reigned. Hundreds of alien delegates shouted and pointed at the ship that had appeared from nowhere. Security forces aimed weapons at the shadow dancer, but held their fire, confused by the ship's passive stance. Captain Yoon activated the external communication system. Her voice, calm and clear, projected throughout the vast chamber. Distinguished representatives, she said, I am Captain Yoon Jae-yun of Earth. Before you vote on our fate, you should see what the Vexari have hidden from you. The ship's external projectors lit up. Suddenly, images filled the air around the shadow dancer. The aliens watched recordings of Vexari leaders planning Earth's downfall. They saw the faked scientific reports. They saw the battle plans for attacking Earth's defenses. The technology of this vessel was developed entirely by humans. Yoon continued. Her voice grew stronger with each word. Our quantum displacement drive, our gravitational manipulation systems, our neural interface controls, all of these are Earth innovations. We are not pre-sapient. We are not primitive. And we will not be colonized. In the center of the chamber, Ambassador Tull's bronze skin darkened with rage. His breathing flaps constricted tightly against his neck. This is an outrage, he shouted. How dare you breach the security of this sacred chamber? How dare you plot genocide against my species? Yoon interrupted. Though her voice remained steady, it carried power that silenced the Vexari ambassador. The evidence is before this assembly. I submit to any investigation the Council deems necessary. A tall, thin alien with 6 limbs stepped forward. It was the Confederation Chancellor, the leader of the assembly. Captain Yoon of Earth, the Chancellor said, your method of presentation is unprecedented, but the gravity of your evidence cannot be ignored. Ambassador Tool, what say you to these accusations? Tull hissed. Fabrications, human deceptions. The data includes your personal authorization codes, Yoon pointed out. The timestamp signatures match Confederation Central Time Standards. We have provided full access to the original source files. The Chancellor gestured to several technical specialists who approached the Shadowdancer cautiously. We will examine this evidence immediately. This session is suspended for deliberation. Security forces surrounded the Shadowdancer, but did not attempt to board it. Captain Yoon and her crew waited tensely as specialists from dozens of alien species examined their evidence. Commander Kang provided full access to their files, showing how they had been obtained. Hours passed. Some alien delegates approached the ship, curious about the technology that had allowed it to penetrate their defenses. Others argued loudly, some supporting the Vexari, others expressing outrage at the attempted deception. Finally, the Chancellor called the Assembly back to order. After thorough examination, we find the evidence presented by Earth to be authentic, the Chancellor announced. The Vexari delegation has violated multiple Confederation laws by falsifying scientific data and planning unprovoked military action. Ambassador Toole and his delegation were surrounded by security forces. The bronze-skinned aliens stood rigidly, their pride wounded more than their fear of punishment. The motion to classify Earth as a pre-sapient reserve is rejected, the Chancellor continued. Furthermore, this assembly grants Earth provisional membership in the Galactic Confederation, with full rights and protections under our laws. A murmur of approval rippled through many delegates. Captain Yoon stood straighter on her ship's bridge, a smile finally breaking through her serious expression. Captain Yoon Jae-yun, the Chancellor said, this assembly requests you serve as humanity's first official representative until your people can select their own diplomatic course. I am honored to accept, Yoon replied, bowing slightly. 2 days later, back in Earth's solar system, Admiral Kim stood on the observation deck of the lunar base. Beside him stood Ambassador Toole, now subdued and bitter. They watched as Vexari ships prepared to leave Earth orbit, withdrawing their protective forces as ordered by the Confederation. You could have shared your advancements, Toole said, his voice low and angry. We might have been allies. Kim smiled thinly. You never asked what we could do. You only told us what you thought we couldn't. The Vexari ambassador turned away without another word. His ship departed an hour later, the last of the uninvited guests to leave Earth's sky. Meanwhile, in the Confederation capital, Captain Yoon stood at the viewing window of the newly established Earth Embassy. The Shadowdancer was docked nearby, a symbol of human ingenuity that had already become famous throughout the galaxy. From here, she could see the great sweep of stars. Countless worlds now open to humanity. No longer were they unreachable, no longer forbidden. Her communication device chimed. It was Admiral Kim. How are things at the center of galactic politics? He asked. Busy, Yoon replied. Every species wants to meet the humans who fooled the Vexari. We've received technology exchange offers from 12 different worlds already. And the Vexari? Sulking, but they'll recover. The Chancellor says they've been humbled before. They always bounce back. As she ended the call, Yoon looked back at the stars. Humanity had truly arrived on the galactic stage, and they would never be underestimated again. The end.